According to Saudi Gazette, Saudi Arabia to lift all travel restrictions on citizens from January 1. Saudi Arabia announced on Sunday that it would lift totally the restrictions on citizens for leaving and returning to the kingdom, with opening all land, sea, and airports starting from January 1, 2021 in line with the coronavirus-related precautionary measures and protocols. Citizens of the Gulf Cooperation Council states as well as expatriates and their dependent on valid visa will be allowed to enter the kingdom effective from September 15. They include expatriates who have valid exit and entry visa, work visa, residency permit, or Iqama and visit visa, provided that they fulfill all the coronavirus-related precautionary measures and protocols and a coronavirus negative test result carried out 48 hours before the entry of the kingdom. The decision was taken on the basis of the reports presented by the competent authorities regarding the latest developments in combating the pandemic in the kingdom. The Saudi press agency reported, quoting an official source of the Ministry of Interior. The report highlighted the continuing high rates of the epidemic spread in a number of countries, some of which are currently facing a second wave of the pandemic. The decision is also out of the government's keenness on the safety and health of citizens in light of the possibility of not having a safe and effective vaccine to prevent these diseases before the end of 2020, the spokesman said. The ministry's source stated that a plan to lift the suspension of Umrah service will be announced gradually, based on what will be decided independently later in this regard, in light of the developments related to the pandemic. According to the ministry statement, the date set for lifting the suspension of all travel restrictions will be announced 30 days before January 1. The Ministry of Health has to submit a request with regard to preventive health requirements to be taken by the passengers during the travel, as well as at airport, seaport, and land entry stations. The ministry announced exemptions for the entry and exit for the kingdom before January 1, and for the following categories of citizens and expatriates effective from September 15, and is in strict compliance of the coronavirus precautionary measures and preventive protocols. Citizens: A. Government staff, civilian, and military personnel assigned to official duties. B. Employees in Saudi diplomatic and consular missions and attaches abroad, as well as in regional international organizations, in addition to their families and their companions. C. Employees in permanent jobs in public, private, or non-profit establishments outside the kingdom, and those who have jobs in company or commercial establishments outside the kingdom. D. Businessmen whose business conditions require travel to finish their commercial and industrial activities, as well as export, marketing, and sales managers whose work requires visiting their customers. E. Patient whose treatment requires travel outside the kingdom based on medical reports, especially cancer patient and patient in need of organ transplantation. F. Student on foreign scholarship, as well as those who are studying at their own personal expenses, and trainees in medical fellowship program whose studies or training require travel to the countries where they pursue study or training in addition to their companions. G. Those who have the following humanitarian cases: family reunion for a male or female citizen with their relatives residing outside the kingdom, the death of the husband, wife, parent, or child outside the kingdom. GCC citizen and expatriates, Gulf citizens as well as expatriates and their companions who are now residing outside the kingdom and who have proof of their residence outside the kingdom are also allowed to enter the kingdom. They include the following categories. 1. Participant in regional and international official sporting events, including players and member of technical and administrative staff. 2. Citizens of the Gulf Cooperation Council states will be allowed to enter and exit the kingdom. Non-Saudis who have exit and re-entry visas, work visas, residency permit, or visit visas will be allowed to enter the kingdom provided that their entry is in accordance with the preventive health protocols and procedures set by the committee concerned with taking measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus in the kingdom. The controls include not allowing anyone to enter the territory of the kingdom except after submitting evidence that they are free from coronavirus infection based on report of medical tests carried out 48 hours before the moment of arrival in the kingdom. 3. There will be a partial lifting of the suspension of international flight service in the kingdom and the opening of land, sea, airports, allowing the exempted group of citizens and others to enter and leave the kingdom. 4. What is stated in these exemptions is without prejudice to any approved requirements or controls related to countries to which entry and exit has been suspended for reasons other than that of combating the spread of coronavirus. 5. What is stated in these exemptions does not apply to those countries of which the concerned committee decides to take preventive measures by suspending travel to or coming from those countries due to the outbreak of coronavirus in order to prevent its spread in the kingdom. 6. These exemptions will come into force effective from 6 a.m. on Tuesday, September 15. The concerned authorities, each with its jurisdictions, shall issue statements explaining the procedures for implementing the aforementioned exemptions, including the relevant controls and conditions, the ministry source added.